I'm that James guy, and today we're going to bring Wilma inside and maybe take a preliminary look at her. See what went wrong. We'll take a quick look anyway. Yeah, let's get going. So yeah, now that we've done all this work to get the car in the garage, that tired me right out. Good thing I had some good helpers. And on the wheel ramps, we'll get the hood open, take a look at things. Here, let's just get going. Oh yeah, there's no prop rod, so we're gonna have to improvise here. Some kind of a rod to hold the hood open. Oh, here we go. Nice piece of copper tubing. Bet you this is worth more than the car. Let's just get that all secured in there. That should be fine. First things first. My good friend Paul gave me really big crap for not checking the one important thing when I looked at this car last weekend. Check for milk, he said. Always check for milk. What he means is milkiness on the bottom of the oil cap, which would indicate perhaps coolant in the oil. Oh my, it's clean. So there you go, Paul. Ooh, it looks kind of gross, but it's clean. There's no milk. No milk, Paul. So we can go ahead and not worry that the head gasket is blown or something ridiculously severe. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and get this upper timing cover off. So you can see there's one bolt that's actually missing, a little screw that's missing from there. I presume they pulled it out in order to look down in there to confirm the timing belt failure. Another one is here. You can see it down there. And the other one is, well, down the cover, around the corner. There's no way for me to show you that. I'm just going to go by feel. I hope. Get it out. And then I should be able to tear this thing out of here. It's going to be tough with this power steering line. I might remove that reservoir just to get me more access. The reason I know that there's 3 bolts holding this on is because I just went and did a Google image search for PT Cruiser upper timing cover, and there's pictures of them for sale. And it has 3 screw holes. That's how I know. Little tricks like that get you a long way. I've just decided to remove the hood to give me more light. Whoa. Let there be light. Way better. Just to give you an idea of where this bolt is, hard to see. Anyway, zoom that way. You can see I'm actually ratcheting it right now. That is the back side. Little screw that holds the upper timing cover on. Hopefully it should come out after that. We'll see. There doesn't seem to be enough room to get this cover out now that I've got all the fasteners out. So I'm going to remove this motor mount. I do have the oil pan jack through a block of wood so that this engine doesn't fall down. This will have to come out to do the timing belt anyway, so it's all part of it. Maybe this little gun gonna be good enough? Oh yeah. Hit the floor. Oh. Plinko. It's like a game of Plinko. Off The Price is Right. Didn't hit the floor. motor mount. May as well check the condition of it while we're in there. You can see it's all torn up, falling apart. This technically needs a new one. Oh yeah, I think we got her. So close. I hate puzzles. So bad. It's like the worst kind of puzzle, even. Oh yes. There it is, folks. So I know I'm going to have to take this side bracket off here, but let's just see if I can get this out enough to show you the damage. There you go. She snapped. So what I want to do here is remove the valve cover, because I can already see we've got valve cover leaks down the side of that engine. Over there it's a little gooey. And that way I can look at the camshafts, and what I want to do is pull the spark plugs and take a rubber tip blowgun and just kind of give her into each cylinder. I mean, this isn't a compression test. It's not even really a measured leak down test. I just want to make sure nothing bent inside this engine. So I'm going to get this upper intake off, I hope. Just got to remove a few things. And that'll expose the spark plugs, expose the valve cover, and hopefully with not too much trouble, we can get this thing apart. So now that I got it all apart, my plan was to take the rubber tip blowgun all the way down into the hole and seal it up against each cylinder and make sure I have compression, and rotate the cams, you know, so that they're on inner base. Valves are closed. But look at it. That blowgun is not long enough. So I'm going to have to buy something, borrow something. I'm going to have to something. It's the next day. And look what I got. Amazon. Next day shipping. Compression tester. $32. I'm just going to use the spark plugs. Like, I'm not going to use it as a compression tester. I don't have a timing belt. That won't work. You need to have camshafts spinning when you do compression tests. And I don't have that. Got a bunch of adapters. We'll figure out what size matches up with the spark plug. And we'll plug this thing in. What I'm also going to do is something else Paul gave me crap for. He said, dude, you checked for milkshake in the wrong spot. You got to check the dipstick. So this is actually, this is genuinely the first time I'm going to check for milkshake on the dipstick. And look at that oil, folks. Clean. No milkshake. So rest assured, we don't have a head gasket problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get this valve cover off. Not that I really need to do this, but just I want to see underneath there. No other reason than really just for that. Not sure what it's going to take here. I'm just disconnecting a few bolts. These are the ignition coils. Those will have to go. Maybe I'll just unbolt them and move them out of the way. Power steering reservoir is a bit of a thing. That's going to have to kind of make way. We'll see what happens here. Okay, there we go. Valve cover's off. Just pulling the gasket out. It's actually fairly clean in this engine. That's kind of the crazy part here. Just pull this gasket off. Actually, you know what? It doesn't feel so bad. It ripped in one spot, but the gasket isn't rock hard or anything like that. Doesn't explain why it was leaking, but that's okay. What I'm going to do is show you what I'm gonna do. Okay, here you can see the timing marks. Front, up, it says up right there. This is the timing mark that would line up against the timing mark that is down here on this gear. So these gears have gone out of time a fair amount. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get them all lined up so that the timing marks are even, and then you'll notice when we get down to the lobes, the intake lobes will be facing out and the exhaust lobes will be facing out on cylinder number 1. Then we'll be able to pressure test cylinder number 1. Now keep in mind that if this was an interference engine, you would never want to do this, because as soon as you put pressure into a cylinder, it's going to probably cause the engine to roll over. And if there were any valves that were stuck open, maybe another piston would come up and hit a valve. But this is not an interference engine, so we don't really have to worry about it. I'm going to be using very low pressure, probably maybe even only 20 psi. We're going to pressurize cylinders and listen for hissing coming out of the intake and exhaust with only 20 pounds. That's all you need worth of air pressure. And with only 20 pounds, if this was an interference engine, you would want to put a ratchet or a wrench on the harmonic balancer to keep the engine from turning. That way you wouldn't have pistons hitting valves, stuff like that, because we have no timing belt to keep it all in sync. But we don't have to worry about that here. So I'm going to go ahead and try and turn these gears, get them kind of timed up a little bit. This thing actually doesn't turn that hard. I'm used to working on 15-liter diesel engines, so this is kind of a bit of a joke compared to that. Okay, that's actually pretty close. So you can see here the two timing marks right there, almost lined up. So we're ready to pressure test number 1. This is my cute little air compressor, embarrassingly small, but hey, it has its own built-in pressure regulator. So I can regulate how much air I put into this cylinder pretty easily. Through the valve being held open, through some hoses here into my compression tester, which I'm using as a makeshift leak down tester. So let's give it some pressure. We'll do 20. So I can hear air rushing in, but nothing obviously leaking. If I had a leaky valve because it was bent, here, let's pull these out. You know, you'd hear something. You can run over to the exhaust pipe and see if we have any audible, anything leaking out there. I don't hear anything. I'll move this to number 4. This valve is being held open. Number 4 intake's being held open. So this is going to simulate what it would be like if you had a bent valve. It's not really bent, but, well, I don't think, but it's being held open. So I'm just going to switch this air back on. And you can hear right from this intake pipe, I can hear air rushing out of it. Out of the intake. So that would simulate, I'm simulating what a bent valve would be, just so you can hear what that would sound like. Next I'm going to move it over to cylinder 2. It's being held open. The exhaust is being held open. So we'll see if we can hear that out of the tailpipe to simulate a bent exhaust valve. Okay, ready to go here. Turn the air on. And I hear air rushing somewhere, but if I went over here to the tailpipe, perhaps I can hear it from here. Oh, I can. I can feel the pressure building up on my hand. So that's a really, really easy way to check for a bent valve without pulling the head off or anything like that. Before you go out and buy a timing belt, spend a bunch of money on it, buy some parts. I haven't bought any parts yet. And I could make the decision whether I wanted to proceed with a major repair or whether a timing belt would be good enough. I'm going to actually test the rest of them now, just to make sure, and we'll go from there. Cylinder 2 has me confused. Valves are closed. Fully closed. Watch this. Give it some air. I hear rushing of air coming from one. I think that's really, really bad. Air is rushing in there and valves are closed. Closed. It's sealed. I think this just got major. What I've realized is that number 2 exhaust valve is our problem. If I turn this cam back and forth to make number 1 exhaust open and number 3 open back and forth, even though number 2 is fully closed, if this one opens, air starts rushing out of this spark plug. So it's just coming out of the port through the manifold and out that cylinder. Same with this one. As soon as that valve opens, if I turn it that way, air starts rushing out of number 3. So we got a big problem on the exhaust valve. I think I have a major issue. I don't see any other cause for having air going into one cylinder and leaking out the next cylinder when its valves are closed. There's no possible other reason than something major going on in there. So I might need to pull the head off and take a look inside. On that happy note, please like the video, even though I don't like the video, and hit the subscribe button, and I will see you next time.